In this episode, we dive into the chilling realm of parricide, the unthinkable act of a child killing their parents. We will explore two unnerving cases, each bound by the heinous nature of their crimes. Although the available information for each case is limited, preventing us from dedicating an entire episode to either. But the stories are too harrowing to remain untold. What could be worse than the thought of one's own flesh and blood, the children nurtured and cherished from the moment they entered this world, turning against the very hands that cradled them? Before we start, if you find this video fascinating, then at the end, please drop it a like and let me know what you thought about the case. It helps the channel. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Thank you. First, we begin with a shocking incident in Russia. For legal reasons, an unnamed 14-year-old schoolgirl has recently been detained on suspicion of orchestrating the contract killing of her single mother, a 38-year-old estate agent named Anastasia Miloskia. The murder took place in Balashkia, a city in the Moscow region. The 14-year-old daughter was arrested alongside a 15-year-old boy who had been living at the family's apartment. It is believed that this is the girl's boyfriend. The mother felt that the boy was a bad influence on her daughter, and she ordered him to move out, and it is thought that the mother also stopped her daughter from seeing him. Law enforcement officials believe that the daughter and the boy conspired to hire two other teenagers to carry out the heinous act, offering them 350,000 rubles or £3,650 as payment. The accused teenagers are all aged between 14 and 17 and suspected of murder or conspiracy to commit murder. Pending further investigations, the young suspects have been remanded to a young person's detention facility for a month. The daughter and the boy are accused of granting their accomplices access to the flat, and sickeningly, they were both present as the alleged contract killers attacked the unsuspecting mother upon her return home after work. Anastasia was beaten and strangled to death. It is beyond comprehension how a daughter could not only allegedly orchestrate such a heinous act, but also coldly sit nearby as her mother's life was brutally snuffed out. The alleged killers departed, leaving Anastasia's lifeless body to decay in the apartment. For 2 long days, the daughter and the boyfriend continued to live in the very same space, totally indifferent to the gruesome scene and the stench of death that lingered in the air. Following those eerie 2 days, it is believed that the two teenage hitmen returned to the scene of the crime. They wrapped Anastasia's lifeless body in plastic, encasing her within a mattress, and disposed of her remains in a nearby skip. The next morning, a janitor stumbled upon the grisly discovery, uncovering the tragic fate of Anastasia. Detectives believe the girl and her male friend planned to live off her mother's hard-earned savings, which amounted to over £30,000. She sought to build a future, born from the death of her own mother. An eyewitness said she was beaten and strangled as her whole face was red and swollen. A friend of the 14-year-old girl also said she spoke about hating her mother many times, even though her mother was a good person who loved her. The girl's grandmother said her granddaughter had come under the influence of the boy, who was from a difficult family. The investigation into this case is ongoing, with the unsettling prospect that the accused may only face a maximum sentence of 10 years, to be served in a juvenile facility. It remains to be seen whether the powers that be will make any exceptions, given the disturbing and heinous nature of the crime. Our next case unfolds in the heart of Germany, in the town of Mistelbach, where the country's strict identity laws allow us to know the individuals involved only by their first names. At the centre of this chilling case is 17-year-old Hannah, a troubled teenager who frequently clashed with her parents, Antje and Stefan, both respected doctors in their community. Along with Hannah, there were 3 other siblings between the ages of 6 and 14. In a household seemingly filled with tension and strife, the relationship between Hannah and her parents was fraught with turmoil, as disobedience and conflict became part of their everyday lives. One fateful day after school, Hannah chillingly confided in a friend, saying, "Now I'm going to have to go home to those arseholes. Someday I'll kill them." As the situation at home continued to deteriorate, German media reported that Antje, fearful for the safety of her other 3 children, turned to the Youth Welfare Office in autumn 2021 to enroll in a self-defense course. Judge Andrea Develing, presiding over the case, recounted the harrowing details in court, stating, "She was afraid of her daughter Hannah. Hannah hated her parents. She wanted to see them dead." Despite their fear, Antje and Stefan, worried that they might lose their daughter entirely, decided to welcome her boyfriend, Felix, into their home. Felix had substance-addicted parents, and they had just kicked him out of their house. Felix would later state in court about Hannah's parents, "They were really nice to me. They gave me a home." Hannah had seemingly convinced Felix that her parents were abusive, leading him to believe that he needed to protect his girlfriend from them. Hannah knew that Felix could be easily manipulated. Unbeknownst to Antje and Stefan, the arrival of Felix would only serve to escalate the tension and danger within their own home. On a seemingly ordinary night in January 2022, after the family had gathered to watch a film together, the young couple set their sinister plan into motion, determined to end the lives of Hannah's parents. Before executing their heinous act, they searched Google for answers, typing, "Are you allowed to live at home alone in your parents' house at 16 if they are deceased?" With this cold-hearted query, it became evident that the couple intended to seize control of the family home following the brutal act. As they prepared for the unthinkable, Hannah provided her boyfriend with a headlamp and gloves, while Felix armed himself with an 8-centimetre long blade. As they approached the parents' bedroom, a disturbing sense of excitement seemed to take hold of Hannah, who reportedly told Felix, "You look really sexy," in that moment. What happened next would forever change the lives of everyone involved, leaving a once loving family shattered by the darkness that had taken root in their home. As the clock struck 12:30 a.m, the quiet of the night was shattered by the merciless Felix. Consumed by darkness, he struck his first blow, stabbing Hannah's father in the head. Jolted from his sleep, Stefan valiantly tried to fight back, but the relentless onslaught of 12 additional stab wounds to his head and 9 to his neck sealed his doom. Felix then turned his murderous gaze towards Antje, her agonized screams piercing the air. The chilling cries woke Hannah's 14-year-old brother, who desperately rushed to his mother's aid. only to find his own sister blocking his path. With a voice devoid of empathy, she said, "Felix is downstairs and is killing our parents." All the terror-stricken siblings were now awake. They scrambled to call for help. The younger brother even grabbed a knife to finally be able to alert the police. But Felix snatched the knife from him, covered his mouth with his bloody hand, and took the phone away from him. Hannah, unmoved by her siblings' pleas, stood in their way and told them all, "It's not bad. We can all stay in the house. Felix is already 18. He can adopt you." The horrifying actions that night exposed the chilling depths to which Hannah and Felix had sunk. In the aftermath of their gruesome deeds, the two killers fled, covering a distance of approximately 4 kilometers, before making the decision that Felix should turn himself in. As dawn broke on January 9th, Hannah's boyfriend, weighed down by the grim reality of his actions, turned himself into the police and confessed his chilling crimes. Throughout the trial, the 19-year-old's remorse was clear for all to see, and he was ultimately sentenced to 13.5 years of imprisonment. In stark contrast, Hannah remained shrouded in cold denial, denying any involvement in any of the horrific deeds. She spun a lie, claiming that she had been asleep during the murders and had only awoken to her mother's harrowing screams. Hannah insisted that her interference with her brother's desperate call for help was born and, quote, out of concern for him. The judge revealed the depths of Hannah's deceit as she levelled serious but ultimately unfounded allegations against her own parents, claiming they abused her. For her role in this tragedy, she was sentenced to 9.5 years in prison. Upon hearing their fates, both convicts appeared emotionless, their eyes locked on the table before them, carefully evading each other's gaze. As we reflect on the chilling cases of Hannah and the unnamed Russian girl, we are confronted with the unsettling reality of children driven to destroy their own parents. In the aftermath, the young killers face the grim consequences, while the surviving siblings grapple with the trauma inflicted upon them. That's the end of this episode. Until next time, stay sane.